afternoon. Today we are having a panel discussion on food security. To discuss this panel, we'll be joined by three great representatives. Ana Moreno, head of the Food Storage Unit in Nicaragua in the Ministry of Agriculture. Domenica Samaniego, honor representative of Ecuador, politician, lawyer, and current president of One Drop, One Smile. And Daniela Portillo, Minister of State for Agriculture in Honduras. Food security, according to the ONU, exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary necessity and food preference for an active and healthy life. Food security is a very common and discussed topic right now around the world. I want to begin with the question, what is the current situation of your countries based on food securities?
According to International Food Policy Research Institute, food security, as defined by the United Nations, is the condition of which all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences. In Ecuador, in the recent years, the GDP has grown, which has a result in declined poverty levels and enable increases investments in social policies, infrastructure, health, and education. However, the current economy is slowed down, driven by declining oil prices and other factors that may undermine the positive trend. It's important to say that in Ecuador, there is one of the poorest countries in the region, but it's important to say that 26% of all children under 5 years age nationwide have student growth in rural areas. The figure is of 31%, and the indigenous communities a research of 47%. This is according to World Food Program, that the national illiteracy rate is only 9%, but for rural and indigenous women is 36%.
Honduras is the second poorest country in Central America, and in 2010, the country have a per capita income of about 1,880. Honduras economy is based largely on the international trading of agricultural commodities and manufacturers, making it the most open economy in agriculture in America. This has also made it particularly susceptible to the 2008 to 2009 global financial downturn. An estimated 1.5 million Hondurans suffer from poverty and food insecurity, and recurrent natural disaster continue to threaten to country's most vulnerable population. Poverty in Honduras affects 60% of the population. 36% of the population living in extreme poverty. In rural areas, these figures rise to 63% to 50%.
And to finish your question, in the case of my country, Nicaragua, there are an article that say that Nicaragua is the second poorest country in Latin America after Haiti. So I know that there are a lot of to do to build a good base for food security in my country.
We are all involved here in Central and Latin American countries. We have a representative from Nicaragua, one representative of Honduras, and one representative of Ecuador. I understand that the principal economic base of Latin American countries are in agriculture. I have a question. There is this trend, I might say, of urbanism, and people are losing their lands because of the urban spread and the construction of great towers and great structures. How can we protect our agriculture lands from urban spread so we can have a stable food security in our Latin American countries?
I think that the best thing that we can do is to be able to come on the support of the government of Nicaragua. We can have safe areas and to cultivate and to produce.
It's important to say that it will depend in the specific country that we are talking about. For example, in Ecuador, we have the politic that says that we protect the lands of poor people because they're like all the production is just selling in Ecuador. So I think that this more particular problem could be with the companies that are exporting or some products.
Speaking about agriculture, last week I read an article that GMOs were the solution for food security. Apparently, the introduction of GMOs to our agriculture will increase our food securities, and will these new GMOs will, satisfy our necessities of food. What are your opinions on if GMOs are the solution for food security?
I think that GMOs can help ensure food in any country. These are responsible for having a better performance when it comes to producing them. That is what we need to have less loss and obtain the greatest amount of food.
In Ecuador has approved a law allowing the entry of genetically modified seeds into the country to the purpose only that this will help to the production and to a better understanding for the poor people that dedicate in the agricultural area. It's important to say that the National Assembly of Ecuador approved the free entry of GMOs seeds into Ecuador for research purposes. The issues that we can that are taken to the Congress are presidential that can change in the Article 56, the law about agrodiversity, seeds, and promotion of sustainable agriculture.
Dr. Murray, in his article, this is associate professor of Harvard in the Department of, he says that climate change has, we will never reach food security if we don't control the issue of climate change. There are many factors, I guess, contributing to food security. But how is climate change impacting on food security?
Climate is one of the most important factors in agriculture, and it is also one of the factors that cannot be controlled. its sudden change in recent years have caused many crops to be lost due to drought, for example. This caused that it find less food to offer, and that the price of this one can increase.
It's important to say that climate change is affecting in a direct way in food security and nutrition, such as for specific events such as food ability, food access, food utilization, and food stability. In food availability, we can say that changes in climate conditions have already affected the production of some staple crops, and future climate change threatens to exacerbate this. So, in food access, climate change could increase the prices of major crops in some regions. For the most vulnerable people, lower agricultural output means lower incomes. In food utilization, climate-related risks affect calorie intake, and so particularly in these areas where chronic food insecurity. And in food stability, the climate will that vary produced by more frequency and intense weather events that can upset the stability of the individual and the government that food security strategies.
It is true that climate change is having a negative impact in food security and food prices. That is caused by the irregular or insufficient harvest, and it is affecting to communities because there is less food to feed them. So if we have less food, it will be a serious problem because the food price can increase, what leads to no people can have access to that food.
Lawyer Domenica, you mentioned rise in prices to these crops that are in risk due to climate change. What is the impact on the population, on the rising of these prices on farmers and producers?
Where specifically in Ecuador, people are used to eat rice, for example, and if this climate change affect in a negative way in the production of the rice, that means that even the producers, that the poor producers can't get enough income to cover their costs. So this will mean to stop for the poor agricultors to produce rice and to get another option for the next production, or this could give an higher prices so the people, not all the people will buy this rice, and maybe will get wasted rice.
When the food prices increase, it can represent a problem for the population because if the price of food increase, the demand of the food goes down. What it means? This means that the income of farmers can down, and the only option that they have is to look for another way to generate an income, and also it will be affect the economy of the country.
Thank you. And in my opinion, there is that the price of food increase isn't good for producers. Speaking of my country, Nicaragua, producers tend to be low or medium scale and are subject to their food income. But often when price incomes, the client's demand goes down, and if the price rise, it is because that margin is needed to compensate for the expenses made in the production of this crop.
So we have stated in here that uh, there is a clear connection between a higher prices and the rise of poverty. What can you tell me, based on your countries or what you have studied, if there exists like a clear connection between these two variables?
There is a clear and direct connection with the increasing price and poverty. In the case of Nicaragua, there is a high level of people with limited resource who earn a minimum wage and seek to maximize that money. When prices increase, these people don't meet their needs, and also speaking from the point of view of the producers, if price go up, it may not have a good year on earnings.
Well, in my point of view, there are a clear connection between these two factors, that is higher price food and high rise of poverty. Because if the food prices are higher, it will represent a lower income to the farmer, what means that they don't have the necessary income to supply their needs.
We have two representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture. As ministers of agriculture, do you think that the insufficient investment in agriculture might be affecting food security?
Can you repeat the answer, please?
Do you think that the insufficient investment, talking about money, your government's place, do you think the insufficient investment in agriculture, in the sector of agriculture in your countries might be affecting food security in your countries or in the areas that you have been?
Well, I think that it will depend on the country that we're talking about, but for example, in the developed countries, they are investing in agriculture because they can know the new technology that will help to this, that will help to the production of agriculture. But for example, in Ecuador, even though Ecuador have a lot of incomes by the agricultural production, there is not a lot of investment, and even there are some laws that protect some agricultural facts, but there's not like a specific there's not any specific game that Ecuador has doing right now for agricultural land grab.
Any more opinions? No? So we are going to conclude this panel discussion. Thank you very much for joining us today. Just a brief conclusion of what have we discussed in here. In Ecuador, there has been an increase in health and social policies, but the economy has decreased, and Ecuador has grown in education. Nicaragua is the second poorest country in Central America, second by Honduras, which is a very poor country. Both countries are fighting against this to find food security for their populations. in agriculture, there has to be safe areas and safe lands in order to have a higher increase in production and be able, to feed all the population there exists. GMOs may be the answer, according to our expertise. GMO may be the answer for these food security problem issues that we are facing in our country. And climate change have obviously a very, very negative impact in our agriculture. So we need to solve this by investing in agriculture, by new technology, creating new species, that are resistant to climate change. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.